Hello, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I am Xavier Rodrigues with Triumphs, and we are partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Alka Grobler, CEO and founder of My Choices Foundation. They are a Hyderabad-based NGO that provides grassroots services to victims of domestic violence and their families. Under Alka's leadership, My Choices has helped to peacefully resolve over 11,000 cases of domestic violence and has equipped over 2.9 million individuals living in high-risk areas to stay safe from human trafficking. Through its anti-trafficking initiative, the foundation has established the first national helpline exclusively related to human trafficking and has received over 69,000 calls since its inception. Alka, I can't begin to say how nice it is to speak with you today.
Xavier, thank you so much. And thank you so much for that introduction. I think for us as a NGO, we are always humbled and honored and grateful when people are interested in our work, when they're passionate about our work, and when they support our work. So I really look forward to this time with you.
Appreciate it so much for being here again. Sex trafficking is expanding and is now one of the most lucrative organized crime industries worldwide. At an estimated $150 billion a year, it has overtaken both drugs and arms trading. Alka, can you tell us what are the services that My Choices Foundation delivers to combat these issues? And why is an organization like My Choices Foundation crucial to the sustained changes that are needed to end sex trafficking in India by 2025?
Thank you, Xavier. I want to say that My Choices Foundation, we address two of the world's or human rights most prevalent issues, which is domestic violence of women and girls, and then, as you said, sex trafficking of young girls for the exploitation of sexual slavery. Many of you might know, but as it's something that's maybe not on your radar, there's an estimated 40 million slaves currently across the globe. And this is more than any time in history. And a lot of things like globalization across the world has added to this number just completely exploding. You mentioned a number that it's become a greater than $150 billion industry, overtaking drugs and the arms trade. As hard as it sounds, is that when you sell a gun or when you sell drugs to somebody, you can only sell it once. Like once you've sold it, that you've made your profit. But with human lives, you can sell a young girl up to 20 or 30 times a day, where she gets brutally raped. The average age of these girls are now only 12 years old, and only 1% of these girls ever get rescued. So for us, this is an issue that's not just close to our heart. It's actually something that is, as I said, it's a human rights issue across the world. And because of this, and because of the prevalence of sex trafficking, this has become one of the most important things for us to focus on as an organization.
No, absolutely, and it's such a vital role that we all we see this in happening, and it's so nice to see the effort that is being put by yourself and the foundation, and especially leveraging big data. The use of big data has already shown value in helping address social issues like human trafficking. Since trafficking often begins with fraudulent recruitment methods such as promises of employment or school or education opportunities, data analytics can help identify specific economically vulnerable areas where one can deploy awareness campaigns and social service support. This is just one example of how big data can help in the fight against human trafficking. But what is the role of big data in combating domestic violence?
Yes, as I said, our organization has the honor and the privilege to actually work across both sex trafficking and domestic violence. And these two are very different in nature. Domestic violence is a very private matter and a shameful matter, and people try and keep it behind closed doors. And some of you might know, but India is still seen as one of the most dangerous places in the world to be born a baby girl. And that is because of the violence that she faces most of her life. I think we've been very blessed that we have been partnering with different data analytics organizations over the 10 years that we are at My Choices Foundation. And I just want to talk a little bit on the domestic violence side, and I know we'll talk a little bit later on trafficking side of how we're using data. And there's sort of three main platforms in which we use data on domestic violence side. The first one is over the last 18 months, we've had a team of volunteers, animators, scriptwriters, data analysts who've developed digital module tools for us across all our e-module learning modules. So everything that we teach in the schools and the colleges and with the police got captured on an e-learning platform. And this is now available obviously for free, and we want to try and get this across as many platforms as we possibly can. So we use big data much more in our trafficking work, but in our domestic violence work, it's enable us to identify where the schools are, where the colleges are, where the basties are that's sort of most at risk for domestic violence. We then, as I said, we've captured all our learning over the last 10 years, made it digitally available. Then another thing that we've done is, again, we've partnered with another organization, data organization called SciSense. And SciSense is a sort of AI-driven analytical tool that allows us to real-time analyze all our data across. So at any point in time, we can go exactly and see which client, where she came from, what's the type of abuse, what's the frequency of abuse, how many counseling sessions has she been in, and what her sort of improvement has been over the resolution rate. And then the last thing, which is very, very interesting, which I thought I'll just touch on, is what we call it sort of an AI bot. And it's we were reached out to by this organization that takes expertise knowledge and then sort of scrape all this information, and then they create this sort of clone of the expertise that you have. And so over a period of about 2 years with all our counselors, it was a very in-depth process to try and build this bot that you do the survey, and as you go through the survey, it starts analyzing where you are in your relationship. So it starts taking the algorithm of changing the questions as you go along to try and determine whether you are in a healthy or abusive relationship. And this we use across with all our college students. So those are sort of the three ways in which we use data on the domestic violence side.
No, it's just amazing, Alka, to see all of this come into play. And I know we've been connected on this issue on the Data for Good Summit as well, and just leveraging all these mechanisms, to help such a great cause is so nice to just see how this is shaping up. So I've been speaking with Alka Grobler, CEO and founder of My Choices Foundation. Look for part 2 of the series right here on CDO Magazine, where we'll continue this discussion on how we can use data analytics to combat social injustice in India. Thank you, Alka.